What's up, guys? 3-1 here. It's been a while, but I just wanted to make a video because I recently hit Challenger for the first time this year with a pretty big win streak over my last 40 games of Renekton. I had a 83% win rate on him, and I just want to talk about how I see Renekton right now and some of the strategies that I've been doing, some of the dark technology that I think very good on Renekton. I think there is a lot of stuff that most people aren't aware of, and is slow to catch on. Some of it I've been doing for a while, some is relatively new. I want to talk about what's changed with the buffs and the removal of prowlers. Goodbye, my old friend. Rest in peace. But yeah, for those of you who do not know me, I have been Challenger since Season 8 every year. Last year, I hit it on my main, almost 1,000 LP. I haven't been streaming much over the last couple years, but I am back now. And just hit Challenger this year. We failed at last split. I missed it by like 2 or 3 games, and then fell all the way to Masters and all of the coin flip of the last couple of days of the split. But yeah, let's talk about Renekton and what has changed. Why am I able to go on a win streak like this with Bruiser Renekton? Why it's so strong. So first things first is the buffs. So Renekton got buffs. Why didn't it filter to Renekton? That's weird. Let's try again. First things first, Renekton got buffs. And in my opinion, they favor Bruiser a decent amount. Still very good for full AD, but with the removal of Prowlers, just not really, it's not really feeling great after the last couple years of changes. I think durability patch and all the mobility that's in the game nowadays, it's hard to play full AD without the Prowlers active. Prowlers with Azanya's third or fourth item was probably my favorite thing to ever exist on Renekton, but we will never see it again, unfortunately. Just some Zanya's maybe last item with Bruiser build. But let's talk about the buffs. Pretty big buffs. This has been overdue for 4 years. We should have had this at least 4 years ago. Renekton's ult cooldown reduced by 20 seconds per rank is massive. You are a super ult gated champion. That was one of the reasons I like full AD so much, because it felt like you could actually kill people without your ultimate. But you are a super ult gated champion, so this is really important, especially for Bruiser, to have your ult up more often, because if you get, if anything forces your ult at any point and you don't have it for a fight, you are pretty useless. And being able to fight more often is really important too. So your ult gets to a really low cooldown with all the CDR that you build in Bruiser build as well. Other big change is the tick damage on your ultimate was increased by 5 per tick and 10 per second at rank 1, 20 per second at rank 2, and 30 per second at rank 3, which is huge, especially for Bruiser Renekton. Your ult pumps now. It's like pretty crazy how much stronger these changes made your ult, which I think is great changes for Bruiser Renekton. Feels amazing. Other change is the 2 seconds on E is surprisingly strong. Feels really good to have 2 seconds on your E in a lot of matchups. Like Jack's matchup is notable, but also stuff like Aatrox. Pretty much every matchup around the board, you are waiting for your E. You are gated by your E in lane for your trades, and 2 seconds off of it feels really good. It also feels good, later in the game, of course, too. So those changes were super big. Also forgot to mention, hit rank 1 on League of Drafts in all regions. It's super meme site, but I've never done that before. Best Renekton world, woo! But yeah, so the build I'm going just Conqueror with Gore Drinker almost every game. Some games I'm going Stridebreaker. I'm more likely to go Stridebreaker if I'm not rushing a Mythic. Like this game, I failed my level 1 versus uh, Rumble. And I'll talk about the dark technology of my level 1s in a little bit. But I rushed a Maw, and it just felt right to go Stridebreaker versus how much kite and range they have as opposed to Gore Drinker. Wouldn't give a ton of value. Felt really good. Almost came back this game. Unfortunately, didn't quite make it. I have a clip from that game later I would like to show. But yeah, going Gore Drinker, most games, Gore Drinker so strong to snowball your lane. The only problem before with Gore Drinker was that it felt like you fell off really hard, but with these ultimate changes and also changes to your W from last year, it feels like you scale much harder with Wizard Renekton than you used to. So Gore Drinker is number 1. Number 2 is this little item, Sterix. Now you won't see it as much as you should in my match history, even though it's here a lot. I've been trying to go, wow, it's here a lot. I've been trying out Cleaver second as often as I can because I was spamming Gore Drinker second almost every game. And I know it sounds more intuitive to go Cleaver, get CDR, have Pen for your matchup versus something like Jax, Aatrox, Mundo, and then go Sterix. But if you are winning your matchup and you don't need Cleaver for it, Sterix just makes it so you are a 1v9 team fighter so quickly. This item is crazy. Another crazy item on Renekton is Stone Plate, especially since Shiv came into the game and stuff like AP Kaisen is in the game. So this game, yes, I do really want Cleaver second versus Jax. He has so much armor. He went to Frozen Heart, felt really good. And then Stone Plate, look at how much mixed damage they have. So much value from the Stone Plate, even just in my 1v1. It's 120 resist from it and a shield. So much value versus how much mixed damage they have. Kai'Sa's doing all AP. So many games versus Kai'Sa, I end up going Stone Plate. Feels fantastic. So this game is Gore Drinker, Cleaver, Stone Plate, CDR boots into an Abyssal Mask. Also, Abyssal is your best MR item right now. You can go Null Magic. You can go, what is it called again? Negatron Cloak. And just sit on it. This, for 900 gold, 50 MR, is awesome. Whereas Spectre's Cowl for Spirit Visage, worst build path in the game. I hate that item with all my heart. Building it feels horrible. Yeah, that's it for the builds. Sterix, amazing item. Gargoyles versus a lot of mixed damage versus, maybe you're versus lower damage, like some tanks, and then there's mixed damage. There is one game that I'll show later where I'm versus like a tank top laner, tank jungler, and then like an Asol of Philios. Like, they're not going to burst me, right? And then a tank support. They're not going to burst me. And for when they are bursting, I can control when to activate my shield and get a ton of value. So just having the resist feels more valuable in situations like that. Yeah, let's talk about some of the matchups. So a big reason I was able to get a win rate like this in my last games is luck. I had really good matchups, and I really like my matchups. I have gotten very good at them. You'll see I'm like stomping a lot of the Jaxes I'm playing against. Olaf matchup. I love this matchup. People struggle with it. Only matchup I don't like is Poppy and Alawi. I ban Alawi. I have been lucky to not face many Poppies. I can't play against this champion in NA high elo. It just tortures me. The Poppies here are so aggressive. Early game, it feels really unplayable. If they play it correctly, in my opinion. But Aatrox, Rumble are the two most common matchups I'm seeing right now. And then there's like, sprinkles of like Aurelia, Riven, Sion. Usually Renekton's ban when I versus Riven. And I like all these matchups too. So the Rumble and Aatrox matchups are two matchups that I want to show you guys a little bit of. Because the way I play this is different than most people. This is the dark technology I'm talking about of E-Start. And I will get into that in a bit. I've been lucky to not go against many, range champions like Kennen is very hard for me. Nara I find very hard ever since Fleet Footwork. Same with Quinn is very hard ever since Fleet Footwork has been standard on them. Don't like the Poppy matchup. GP I find a little bit more dependent on the enemy player's skill level than most matchups, so it feels a bit hard. Nefiri, I limit tested too hard against. Tanks, I really like all my tank matchups. I think Ghost is very strong into tanks and Singe. Jace is a matchup I find that's very dependent on the enemy skill, and I feel like I don't have much control. But guess what? You can still snowball really hard versus Jace if you are better than him. So these are like the matchups I've been playing against. I have some clips I would like to show you of some of them, and just how I'm playing them out. I feel different than most people. That makes them go a lot better for me, and not just winning the matchup, because on Renekton is so important to not just win a matchup but snowball it, and not just snowball, but if you snowball as fast as possible and you chain together 3 kills, you can take tower at 10 minutes, 11 minutes, or at least 4 plates, like if you don't have your jungler to help you finish off the tower consistently. And you can get your mythic at 8 minutes consistently. And I will show you guys how to do this in some of these replays. I'll show you the flow, how I'm playing my lanes, and I want to keep this as brief as possible. This is not a Renekton guide for new players. This is an overview of how I'm playing Renekton right now and how I see this champion and how I see the most consistent way to win games. And I am not playing perfect. I'm not in the best form I've ever been in either, but I feel like my understanding of how to play Renekton and the flow of the game and how to consistently win is better than it's ever been. And my matchup knowledge, at least for the matchups that I'm getting, feels very consistent. But before that, I want to talk a little bit more about the build and Renekton right now. So something, if you watch my streams, you've heard me say a million times, and you all know this if you watch my stream, everything I'm about to say about your ability max order. Q is a fake ability after lane phase. It's very OP in lane, but after lane phase, it is just fake. So let me load into game, load into a practice tool as I show you guys some of this stuff. Let me make sure my runes are right. Yeah, they're fine. So you'll see here, I put 4 points in Q and then maxed my W. And then some of these other games, you'll see 3 points in Q, max W. So this is what ideal ability max looks like. 3 points in Q for lane, get level 6, curb stomp your laner, and then max your W for scaling. And it's for scaling, and it's also like better for, you know, all-inning and getting 2 Ws off. Your cooldown becomes similar to your Q cooldown. So let me show you in game. Also, I don't think I showed yet. Everyone on my stream knows, but rest in peace, Prowlers. You will be missed. I love Yumu's. Unfortunately, Gordrinker has my heart right now because it's just the best. But what I want to show you guys is, so when you are level 6, you have 3 points in your Q. So this is the strongest you can be. And if you win your lane at this point, you're snowballing on your laner. You have 2 or 3 kills. A lot of the time I will have 3 kills after using my ultimate. If you start putting points into your W now, and you get to level 10, your W will be fully maxed before you reach your second point in ultimate. So you have W fully maxed at level 10 is good. Sometimes, though, I'm not winning lane hard enough, or I feel like I need a little bit extra oomph in my Q for 1v2s, and I will put 1 more point in my Q, and then I will like kill my laner, or I feel like, you know, it's late enough into the game, my support and jungle and mid laner are all roaming around enough, it's not all, you know, about my trades, that I'll just start maxing W. So a lot of time I will do this where I go 4 points in Q, especially versus something like Jax where my W doesn't have quite as much value. 4 points in Q, and then I'll start maxing W. The only problem with this is you're going to have 4 points in W, which is 2 seconds less on your cooldown, which is a little bit worse. You'll have that for, you know, an extra level, or an extra 2 levels. Instead of having it at level 10, it's going to be all the way to level 12. Actually, let's stay on here. I want to show what exactly happened. The changes to your W a year and a half ago. So I've been doing this not because of the recent buffs. I've been doing this for a long time, where I will do an ability max order like this. And I think some Chinese Renektons like Yu Xiaoyu do it too. at the very least, we've been maxing W second since these changes, or at least I have. So huge changes to your W's was it raised the cooldown early, but instead of going down by 1 second per rank, it goes down by 2 seconds per rank, and this was on 12.9 over a year ago. So now you get 2 seconds every time you level up your W. They also changed the damage. So the damage scaling, it encourages you to put more points in your W. It's literally begging you. So they changed it from getting, what is it, 10 damage in your W per rank to getting 15 damage per rank. Power, unpowered, base damage per hit. So this is per hit. So now it goes 10 to 130 when it used to go 10 to 90. So it's up by 40 damage at max rank. And your empowered is up by 60 damage. Sorry, total brain fart. Yeah, let's go back into the game. So your W scaling is buffed by a lot. Your Q was also changed and made weaker, and it's just like more of a fake ability early. Doesn't scale as hard with points in it. But what I wanted to show, let's go to our little home and top lane, is the W cooldown. Actually, let's stay by the base. Is the W cooldown. So right now, my W is on an 8-second cooldown. So 8-second cooldown with Gore Drinker. With Gore Drinker CDR, it's on a 6.67 second cooldown. So like it's only a second more than your Q. With just 20% CDR, it's already at under a 7-second cooldown. Whereas normally with the CDR, it'd be a 13-second cooldown if you don't have points in it. And if you had 3 points in it, it would be a 10-second cooldown if you were maxing it second after Q. And then you just slap CDR boots in it. All of a sudden, it's less than a 6-second cooldown, which is just crazy. Like with how strong this ability is, I was loving doing this on Blade of the Rune King Rush and the Brawler's Rush as well. With how strong this ability is, it is crazy to have it on less than a 6-second cooldown, and it's so valuable in late game fights. And all the time, like I will be, you know, like trading with my laner or something, I will W them, and then like I had an example recently where I run into the bush and then Kha'Zix jumps on me. He thinks my W's down. They always think your W is down, and then you just one-shot them, like, because it's back up and your damage is crazy and you're snowballing early. It's so good. W max second or W max after 3 points in Q is fantastic. I do it all the time. So the next thing though, and then you max your E after your W. That's the other part. Max your E after your W. It just scales better with points in it than your Q does. Your Q does not do that much late game. So I want to ask you guys. I want to talk about E-Start. I'll wait to start E-Start for a second. The other thing I do is I do longsword refillable in a lot of matchups that I'm comfortable with. Versus Jax, I'm going to go D-Shield. Versus range champs, I'm going to go D-Shield. Versus like Volibear, maybe Scion, I might start D-Blade. But that's a rare occurrence. Most of these lanes I'm starting longsword refillable. And that is because I used to do longsword 3-pot into almost everything. But now that I'm more comfortable with exactly how I'm playing out a lot of these matchups, I think longsword available is very good if you understand exactly how you're going to play a matchup. If you tend to have more variance in how you're playing your matchups and you're not recalling, you know, if you're going longsword 3-pot and you're not recalling with 1 or 2 pots in your inventory, then maybe just stick with longsword 3-pot. But I find myself, if I do that, I'm recalling with 1 to 2 pots very often, usually 1 pot. So out of the last 40 games that I have played, 40 Renekton games, one of them was jungle, okay? But out of the last 40 games, I have started longsword refill 25 times. I think it's really good versus every matchup that you don't absolutely need D-Shield, like Jax. So I'm going to struggle to find another matchup where I even don't do it. I went D-Blade versus Aurelia and maybe like D-Blade versus Scion. Yeah, honestly, I can't even find another matchup. I'm pretty sure I did it versus Jace too. Okay, Jace, I went D shield. I usually go D shield versus Jace. It's a pretty coin flip not to. But every other matchup is longsword refillable for the most part. What I want to ask you guys, we can get into this now, is how many games do you think I have started E in the last 40 games? Comment below how many times you think I have started. Actually, yeah, how many times do you think I've started E in the last 40 games? And now that I'm asking you that, you're probably going to guess a high number, but it is 23 times. I've started E 23 out of my 40 games. I've started Q 14 times. One of those was jungle. I start Q less than a third of the time. 3 W starts. I think E start is so good into so many matchups, whether it's defensively versus like Jax or Olaf, and you can, create an HP advantage or keep it even until you're stronger with E start, or if it's to play aggressively. And the reason E start is so strong in so many of these matchups like Aatrox and Rumble is because then you have E and W level 2. And as soon as you're hitting level 2, you can double dash on their head and beat it in. That's why it's so strong. And the other thing I do with my runes is I ego demolish almost every game. I think demolish is so strong. 30 out of my last 40 games, again, one is jungle, I have started demolish. I go demolish and second win. Second win is the most consistent, but I ego demolish and alacrity all the time. I also always go double offensive in my runes. I think it just adds up to so much damage compared to attack speed. But I think out of those 10 games or 9 games that I didn't go demolish top lane, I think I regretted it in at least half of them too. And I'll show you the flow of the game and how I play and why I think demolish is so strong. Okay, so let's get into some replays. Again, I'm trying to keep this as brief as I can. I could go on for a very long time, but I'm trying not to. So let's show, I want to show an Aatrox level 1 and I want to show a Rumble level 1. So this one is just level 1. We're just going to show level 1 in this replay. So this is E start versus Rumble. Now a big thing that a ton of error people make is they don't contest the wave instantly level 1. If he's coming up lane, I'm probably not actually going to do anything here. But if he walked like this way, I might go behind the wave. Yeah, what we're gonna do is we're gonna E over the comet, and then if he autos me there, he autoed me pretty late. It's actually pretty good to just like all in him and just like keep autoing him because he has 63 AD. His Q is on a 10-second cooldown. So if I use E just after him, my E, will be on a 6-second cooldown by the time his Q is back up. But I can like move into the bush. But the thing that's good about E start is it actually gets you push a lot of the time. If I didn't already, like if he was contesting the wave, I would want to really make sure to E the range creeps too and double hit them with my E to try and get push. This is when his Q is back up. I'm trying to get auto trades in. I don't think this is necessary. I think it's better for me to stay back. All I need to do is play for my level 2. So that's actually like a decent sized mistake that I made, but it's still fine. My Fury's a little awkward here, but we literally just flash on him and murder him with auto W auto. So this is like not a perfect level 1 by any means. But you guys can pull this off. I wouldn't necessarily recommend E start if you're doing fine without it. Because there are a lot of variables, but I do believe if you become comfortable with it in lower elo, other people will not know how to play against it and they won't play against it properly. In higher elo where I'm playing, there's a lot of variability in how the people play the level 1, and sometimes small errors like the one I made can get me killed. But I do think if you play it perfect and they play it perfect, it works every single time. So I think it is genuinely good. Now let's show the Aatrox matchup. So again, he's not on the wave right away. It doesn't matter that much for Aatrox. So the number one way to mess up the Aatrox matchup is to let him passive auto you. Don't let him passive auto you unless he walks all the way here. You see where I'm standing? Like, if he's not passive autoing the wave, he's not going to get push, you know? But he can't get push if he uses passive auto on the wave, because I will win the trade and I'll get pushed by eing the wave. So he actually leads with his Q. So I Q in. He also uses passive auto on the minion, so I'm able to go. And you can see, like, I have push pretty easily. Now we just play for a level 2. I don't want to auto. I don't want to over push the wave. I want to keep him in the middle and play for kill. You can see, like, this is a mistake by him, but people are going to do this. They don't know how to play versus E-Start Renekton. He's like, wow, he actually started E? That's what he's thinking, right? He's not like, oh, he's going to hit level 2 and he's going to double dash on me and it's really bad and he's going to get a lot of fury from Eing me and all the creeps, and then he'll shred my armor with his E and then, you know, dodge my Q3 and then kill me. So I actually don't get the kill here because it's really bad for me if I go for one more auto here and he's standing here by the time I go to W. If he flashes under tower and I don't get my W off, it's not like I won't have kill pressure on him. I will just have to push in the wave, recall for like a longsword start, or just like keep laning until pickaxe. So I didn't want to wait till lethal and have him just flash early, because I can't follow flash when he's this close to tower, so I just won't get the damage off. So instead I just take the chunk, take his flash, and then play for kill in his tower. He should TP back right now, but then I get both his sums. Pretty good for me, especially since I have refill start. It's pretty efficient. Instead, he is trying to desperately, you know, get creeps and thin the wave before, um, before TPing back maybe. So we get a kill. It's good timing to go in. So now let's talk about the flow of the game. So now, because I have killed this guy level 2, it accelerates my entire snowball. So this has been huge for me. I feel like E-Strat has accelerated my snowballs so much. Instead of, like, you know, slowly working for a solo kill if they don't mess up. If they do mess up, like, and I play well, I'll end up getting like a dive and a solo kill. Maybe it'll be 1-for-1, maybe not. I don't know. But doing this into getting a pickaxe buy, so he actually stops my base. If you get first blood, you get pickaxe buy really easily. Like, I could have, like, you know, horrible CS and still get pickaxe buy. But you can see now, like, I have 15 CS, got the kill without first blood gold, and I will still have enough. So we get pickaxe buy, and this is a fundamental of Renekton for me. This is so fundamental to snowballing the game. Is coming back in the lane with your pickaxe buy, with your item advantage, and stopping their push into you. So he uses all of his cooldowns. I will just trade my E. That's fine for me. He can't, like, how can he push this cannon wave in? He doesn't even have Q. So I'm going to Q-tap his bone plating. I'm going to trim the wave, auto the wave as much as possible to get Fury without taking too much damage, create an auto. So now I have Fury. My cooldowns are coming back up soon. I'm way stronger. Empowered Q. So normally you could just wait back for your cooldowns, but I had a pretty good read that I could step in on this Q. Also, I'm just way stronger. I felt like I could brute force it no matter what. And now he's just dead, right? Like, I have flash advantage too. It's not even close. I even, like, use empowered W, empowered Q instead of empowered W, so I can clear the wave faster and heal more. And then what we're gonna do is tempo reset. It's not even 5 minutes yet, so I can't even get tower damage really. And now we can either do the same thing, or another fundamental of Renekton for me is level 6. At level 6, you send it. So I actually misplay here, not Eing out of this. I was scared of him walking to the right, I guess. I should have just E'd. But this is so fundamental for me. Even though I mess up so hard here, I should have just flashed W too. I shouldn't even E. It's still going to work out. I'm just going to flash on him, chunk him out, even though I played it almost as horrible as possible, because it's worth it. What is he going to do here? Recall without TP? Like, is like his jungler going to come and stop me from diving? I'll probably dive anyways. Maybe I'll kill your jungler instead. Maybe not. Then I'm taking jungle time. But you can see on the map, like, we're pretty sure he's bot side. Now we just wait out his Qs. And it's super, super easy. Because we just make things so easy for ourselves, you know? And this is the flow of snowballing the game. Then we get 2 plates. And then normally you just recall here. But I felt I was strong enough to just keep farming. And I think I thought I would be able to sell my refill for Mythic here, or just be able to get it. Normally I don't buy boots, so I'd just be able to buy it. I actually stay again. I don't know if it's good or not. It's probably trolling, but Aatrox kind of rage quit at this point. We literally made him rage quit. Like, um, so I think roaming mid a lot of the time is not great. Um, but there are some windows that it's fine. I think if you're sacrificing, something top for it, it's usually not worth it. In this case, Aatrox is bot, so it's whatever. But now let's just like speed through this game. We dive Jhin, awesome. We dive or we bait Aatrox, or we kill Kha'Zix actually too. And we're just so strong with Gore Drinker. We kill this guy too. Helps to have an Ivern. It's really nice. And now the game is like literally just over. And then I think I trolled this and died. But I'm just gonna show you guys um just how hard this snowballs because of the line that I'm playing early game. There's so many things I don't even play that well, but it just doesn't even. Let me do 5-second skips instead. But it just doesn't even like matter. I think the strategies you have is just as important as the execution. Mechanics are very, very important. Don't get me wrong, but strategy and how you play out the game is more important in my opinion. Now we kill this guy again. Crazy. Just look, this is when I get my Sterix. Just look at how strong I am. Like, I'm not killing anyone here. I'm just muscling down bot tower. I have a 14-minute Sterix. I mean, now I killed them because they overstay. But either way, it's fine. But yeah. We snowball this game super hard. A lot of the games look like this though. They're just stomps. Because of how quickly I'm snowballing them. And games where I'm not snowballing, like here's an example. This is a disadvantage fight situation. So I got solo killed by Rumble twice this game. I messed up my E start. He played very well. He was on the wave right away, contesting it. That second trade I talked about in the last one versus Rumble, I did that and it was quite bad. And he was like autoing me back. And my first trade, I didn't E through the comment. And then the other part that I talked about where I know this is probably hard to take in, but you just watch the other one back if you want. I should have all in him when he E'd me back, autoed me back. I should have just gone for it. So I messed up my level 1 very hard versus Rumble. I got killed twice, but versus Rumble, if you fall behind, build a Maw. It's very strong. I don't care if you're against a Kha'Zix jungle. It's very strong to just build a Maw. I think winning your 1v1 on Renekton is so important. Not so that you can sideline all the time, but so you can take tower, so that you can have pressure, so that you can move to fights first, and your team can have numbers advantage. So this was something that I messed up really hard. I felt like I needed to get max damage on this guy, and I need to like auto E and then WRQ, double fury combo. But I actually messed up pretty hard, and this goes quite bad for us. So Nefuri was bad, my bot lane or dead, my bot lane just died. So this is a small thing. Saw this ward here, so we're going around. You want to be sneaky and creative. You'll be in these situations all the time as Renekton. You're very strong, but you're not the most mobile. So we actually get Ezreal's flash here. This was his flash, not his E. And then the Fury's back. So everyone is low. Like, I'm so down to fight. I have both Psalms. I'm 2 items. Kha'Zix is low. Like, my W is maxed out. It's low cooldown. Like, let's go. And this guy jumped into me. Did you know what I said earlier? They won't expect your W to be up. I just W'd Ez. It's on a 7-second cooldown. This guy jumps in. He's not ready for my W to be up instantly. Like, RW, break his shield. I have Maw. Rumble can't kill me. The Fear is getting a ton of collateral damage. Boom. W's up again. We wipe out 4 people. I go for a bit much. I go for a little bit much here. Maybe I deserve to die there. And then even though Caitlyn goes bot and types, yeah, no way to us doing Baron, we still get Baron, only lose one person, and we're back in the game. Like so many games you can come back into, like no matter how hard you're losing, through being in the right place at the right time, being creative, being patient, and finding creative angles. And that's another one in this game. This mid game flank is. I'll get to the mid game flank in a second. Let's show the flow of the game. Another matchup I like is the Shen matchup. Do a little two wave crash. He taunts me, and this is like a mechanical play. So see my Fury here. So I did two wave crash and keep my Fury up. I'm not using empowered Q on the wave. Ward behind me because you can see where Kayn is. Thought maybe she's behind me. Enemy jungler. But I like this matchup a lot as long as you don't get, cheese level 1, you space well, don't let him start his Q behind you level 1. I guard it. So we do E auto Q trade while he's on cooldown. But look at how high my Fury is right as I'm hitting level 3. This is Fury management. And all of a sudden we get another level 2 kill and we can snowball this game really hard. And then after that kill, I move down to this. So some like small thing. I start my recall instantly when she's ghosting away and Silas throws his E and it misses. But I just think like this fight's not gonna happen. But then when I see it's committed, I go. I don't know if that was a mistake or not, but a lot of the time, like I know the key ability, and I'll just leave if it doesn't hit, etc. So she actually dashes my Q or flash. I think she dashes my Q there. But we end up playing this really well. We save our W. Gwen shows. Step into her, Q her. She was casting Q, I believe. Step into where Kiana's gonna dash to. But this was really good patience on the W. So I could auto W right now if she's showing, and then empowered Q, like to stay alive longer maybe. But this guaranteed me the kill the way I played it. So Fury management, so important. I do stupid stuff all the time, by the way, but I'm still winning like all these games. Like you're allowed to make mistakes. Um, this is just another quick move. I think going mid a lot of the time, if you're giving up anything, isn't great. But if Shen ults and then the wave is pushing to me and we want to play for Herald, I want to enable my team here. It's because of how much the enemy team is committing to top. It's great. And then after that play, bait this guy. 2 empowered Qs versus tanks. 2 empowered Qs versus tanks. It's so strong. You were so immortal. And he moved back, so I'll just chase right away. If he moved into me, I would wait a little bit to play for my Q. Another empowered Q. Give the kill to the jungler as much as you can, unless the jungler is already snowballed and you're not. And then there's just a mid-game fight that I want to show here. They make a lot of mistakes, but it's plays like this that I love. Like this is what I think about probably more than anything else. Especially since a lot of the early game, like I feel like I understand like really well how to consistently snowball it, and the exact like type of lines I'm trying to follow in lane. But these plays where you see everyone on my team is recalling. So the normal play is to recall with my 1200 gold, buy like pickaxe, longsword, and then follow them onto the map, play for Herald. Let's fight with Herald, great. I can't really make something happen at Herald, but I can make sure we win it just because I don't have flash. But when what I can do is understand exactly what's happening on the map right now. My whole team is on reset and they know this. They get first tap on this wave. What is very likely to happen is that they will push into our top side and look for vision, or like try to clear out vision here, sure. But most likely they're going to go into top side before Herald, especially with like Shen push and he can move. And they're going to try to pick someone like this Nautilus walking in. They're going to try to put vision down. So I understand that, so I actually stay so I can get a flank angle. Lux just used her Q, they have no CC. So Caitlyn's pretty far. And I think this fight is like super winning, especially with Kayn coming in. Maybe Nautilus will die. So I just go on Lux here. But what I wanted to point out is this play, you will get mixed results. You will do this play in your game and it won't work. And you'll just be like, well, cool. I guess it just doesn't work here, and I don't know why. I feel like I did what was correct. This is a great play by Nautilus. Nautilus, I feel like either he got lucky or he understands the situation very well that me and Kane want to flank, and he has aftershock, and he is baiting, baiting them into him. And then Silas also took Shen ult. And because this fight looks pretty one to me, if it's not one, I will walk over and support my team. If it is one, I will walk behind and try and chase extra kills. So this fight just made the game so easy. Like, it just made it so easy. Um, and then because Ezreal is pushing mid and Kiana stayed bot, it's hard to see right now. I'm trying. Ezreal pushed mid and Kiana stayed bot, I can actually take this whole top tower because of Demolish. You can see how long my E lasts here. A little Gromp escape. I'm actually fine here. I end up overstaying because I want to fight. But I have 3,000 gold in the bank. I don't have Sterix yet. If I do this fight with Sterix, maybe it's a little better. I think Lux tried to flash Q me, and they're split up. So this comes into play later. I just got Lux flash. I think if I play this better, I'd kill a Shen too. But, you know. Also, I think if I don't E here and Gore Drinker, I'd be able to kill Gwen too and maybe get out. And then this is just, I wanted to show the power of this build, just how strong I am. You just walk into 3 people, 2 burst jams. Like, I know that they're not really comboing me, but even if they full comboed me, like, you are just so immortal with this build. Like, it's not even close. Like, just look at how much HP I have. This is the other thing. I love the new maps. Like, Chemtech Drake and Hextech Gates, I feel like just give you another angle to, surprise people which I just love doing on Renekton. So, what I saw is this Lux laser. I saw this Lux laser, and I know where Lux is. And I know she has no flash, so I see Caitlyn here. I'm not going on Caitlyn. Lux no flash, just free kill, just bounce house over to her. I thought that was super funny. But yeah, you just see the power of the build. Like, it's so crazy how strong you are in these fights, especially with Sterix. Another really big part of consistently winning games on Renekton is getting control of your lane with these early strats. The earlier you have control, the better. But I actually don't play this that well. So Olaf was actually like controlling the lane pretty well. So I think this lane is easy. If you start E and they play over aggressive into you, I think it makes it easy to trade with minion aggro. But he's just chilling. I don't know if he knows I have E start or what. You can do a little 2 auto E away. But you can see how slow he's playing. I was trying to bait him to come into me there, and then I would empower W, but he didn't. Here he actually goes on me while my E is down, so I have to W walk away. But I didn't play all this like perfectly, but my strat is good. I get pressure here, even though like I don't kill him because I'm not level 3. But I wanted to go here because I don't want him to crash this. So I just want to like get a chunk and delay the crash of the wave. Before it crashes, even though it seems like kind of int. But also like the way he threw his axe, there's no way he can follow. So now I have control of the lane before this is happening. I stay for cannon. And luckily Zac passive is OP. And we end up collecting this kill in double buffs. And then we got to the point in the lane where we're strong, right? Like Olaf, after level 3, this lane is way easier. We can trade. I force him to push, because if this wave gets in front, I'll recall. Something that I think is a strong point for me is finding little pockets to recall where the wave is good for it. I think there's like a really high skill cap on that. But because of our red buff regen and just being strong, we're like super fine in this lane. And we're able to move to this again. So we're pretty much just like winning the game off of being able to move to these plays in like a rough early matchup. And I'm sure Wukong was like thinking that he had Olaf, pushing in and he would be fine to go for these. And then Zac misplays this. He goes without anything, and then flashes in, still tanking, but whatever. Super strong, super big base. We can stop this guy's push, just like I talked about in the Aatrox matchup, taking small trades. I don't like to freeze this permanently, especially if he moves. I like to play for tower damage whenever I can. But then I see Wukong walk up. I think I was a little surprised here that Olaf showed. But this is the 1v2. Level 6, you have a slight chunk on your lane opponent. Your level 6 1v2 is so strong if you have a slight chunk on your lane opponent. Super free 1v2. And then we're so strong like all game. And we're just dominating, right? Like, I don't take the tower like super early. We end up killing this guy. I think I moved around the map. Found like a look on Annie here. I like wrapped through for Dragon and then came behind. Was that a super good time to gank mid lane is like when your mid laner is just walking into the lane because the enemy laner won't expect it. Because I had such a big lead, I wasn't worried about like trading under Olaf's tower, but that's like a big thing too. Like trading under the enemy tower when you're on Gore Drinker Spike or maybe with Eclipse is super viable. You can do stuff like this where you don't take much damage and you're maxing W, so it's like super low cooldown. So you can just do like crazy illegal stuff. One thing to look out for that kept like destroying me is just Sunder is very strong into this build. I should have just W that guy and this would have been free. I was just being greedy. Sunderer, Wukong just chopped me up the whole game. Like, look at this damage recap. Be very careful of the stupid fucking monkey. Sunderer will destroy your day. So I just had one fight I wanted to show just the power of the build. I know I'm 14 kills, but I do have an item in base, and I'm starting very low. So just showing the power of this build. You know, it's not actually even close, even though you think it would be. And here, like, I could potentially like E away towards teammates if I had them coming. If Jin wasn't turning towards me. W's already back up. The cooldown's crazy. Super, super easy. One thing to note is to Gore Drinker before you Q heal. You get maximum value out of your Gore Drinker. Yeah, I'm just trying to show you guys the flow of the game, why I do all the strats that I do, and how much control you can have over the game if you're doing all of the small stuff. So I think there was also like the macro. The macro is so huge. I think there was there one more thing I wanted to show or not? Also, like my Rumble strategy worked with Went. He's always like super high challenger player, best Rumble North America. There was one more play. I remember what it is now. Let's see if it's here. I think it's not here. Let me find it here. Croissanta. Maybe Ante will make it show. I'm just gonna have to scroll for it. It's down here. Close game. Okay, it's here. Okay, it was named this. Okay, so in this game, we're versus Cassante. So how I like to play versus Cassante and Orin is playing very aggressive level 1 with Longsword and Conqueror, and you will end up down on HP sometimes, but if you don't miss your Empowered Q like I did, it makes up for it a lot. And level 2, you can start winning super hard and just like trading really aggro with Conqueror. Here is a huge tip, by the way. I will show another clip of this and then I'll end it. Is like pulling these, you can pull these creeps. I'm actually going to show this first. This is like, this tip helps me so much, and it makes the 2-wave crash so much better. So this is 2-wave crash control tip. So I'm 2-wave crashing here versus set. And then I ward here because Lilia started Raptors. So she's going to go Raptors, and then you Krugs red, and then maybe she could come behind me, but most likely she's going to go Raptors, red, Krugs, and then she would look this way. If she looks behind, I'll be fine to run forward. That's okay. But what you do is you get this minion to aggro you. It helps a lot when these dies. It makes it more consistent. And then you auto it, and you stop, and you auto it again. Get them to just stay on you by autoing them. I could have autoed it again, but ended up being fine. And now look at where the wave is. The wave would have been like up here, right next to his tower, right? And he's chilling. This makes it so hard for them. Like, what is he supposed to do now? Like, he just has to slowly wait and just bleed out minions, and I can double dash on him if I want to. I have a lot of fury. I would have played this a bit different if I realized he didn't have W, which I should have realized while he was hitting creeps under tower. Then I ignite a bit late, so he's not fully aware of the lethal, because he never like really expects to die at this point in the lane. He's pretty healthy. But pulling the wave like that is so good. So let's check out this Cassante VOD. So I don't get quite the early advantage I was hoping. So I don't quite have lethal on this guy. I don't play it great. But I'm just going to stick around with my ward. And I'm going to kill a kill. I'm going to just play it for my pickaxe buy. If you can get pickaxe buy first base, I'm telling you, your games will be so easy. Your games will be so easy, man. It's so OP. So I have pickaxe buy. I'm trading hard. Always trying to reset the wave out. Hard crash this one, so the next one resets out while this guy is low, or he has to tank while he's low. Either one. This was like a little troll. I feel like I should just pop W here, and even if he like ults me, it's like fine. But we end up getting his ult. It's whatever. And then Sejuani comes, and like that Q was pretty bad. But look at how like bad I'm playing it, but it's still fine because I understand. One, these guys are not Korean Challenger players, punishing me for every little mistake. But two, I just understand how my power spikes work, and now I'm using Empowered W instead of Empowered Q, so I get a massive heal on both of them. And I probably could have even killed him too if I played it a little different. But instead, Ari ends up killing him. Like, how easy is the game from this point? Like, the only thing to look out for now is Cassante getting, his Iceborne power spike. We kill him in between towers. Champion's bullshit, so he actually almost kills me. Get a free kill on Acel. Really nice timing. Another kill. We just walk this guy down. Look at how easily we walk this guy down, by the way. Just ulti and send it, bro. This guy like wasted his E. I'm just gonna sit behind him. I miss my E. We still kill him. I think I actually die here. I actually didn't need to. I could have just I could have not hit tower and just walked out. More 1v2 action. Super strong fight. The last fight is what I'm going to show you guys. And then that's all I'll have for you. Also, another thing worth noting is your ulti does double damage. It does a double like insta tick when you first ulti for some reason. So it just instantly did 93 damage to him and killed him. But yeah, we're just so strong with this build. This was a game I went Gargoyle. They have a lot of mixed damage, not a lot of bursts. This was what the game I said versus Acel Aphelios plus 3 tanks. And I'm level 16 at 22 minutes. Level 16 at 22 minutes. Pretty immortal with this build. Going Sterix next. Just jump into their face. If he CCs me, I still have flash after. I like to be really conservative with my flash until I do that. Just look at how immortal I am. Super free game. We actually just end the game here. And Acel says, how do you even body him so hard as Renekton of all things? I was supporting my bro. Blame the jungler. Always blame the jungler. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That's everything I wanted to cover. I tried to keep this as brief as I could. I feel like it could last, like I could talk about this for hours. There's so many matchups that I would love to dive in depth with. Like I would love to, go dive in depth with E-Start and just talk about everything even more. Um, but I want to keep this as brief as possible. It's still, 55 minutes, not the most brief video, but I felt like this was quick as I could do it, and still cover everything. So this is just an overview of how I'm playing Renekton right now. I've had a lot of success with it. 83% win rate in the last 40 games getting to Challenger is like I'm shocked I was able to do that. Hopefully it's just the start of things to come. Make sure to follow me on socials, follow me on Twitch. Gonna be streaming a lot. Hopefully, at some point I will be streaming a lot. It might take me a little bit to get into it, but hopefully see you guys there. Hope you enjoy the video and find it helpful. I'll give more, Renekton guides type stuff in the future. Maybe we'll do a full Renekton guide that's more targeted towards beginners and all the basic stuff. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy the video. Make sure to subscribe. Appreciate anyone that made it this far into the video. Peace.